Hello and welcome to this week's edition of BS with AJ. This week I'm going to be showing you how to put together some frames for your beehives. And happy Mother's Day to all you great mothers. It's just too bad that none of them are as good as mine. Hey guys, today we're going to be putting together some frames for our beehives. What we got right now is we got a groove bottom and a wedge top because we want to use those for the wired wax foundations that we normally use. We use those because they hold up a lot better than just the regular wax foundation, and the plastic foundation we've had no luck with at all. So this is the combination that we use. The first thing you're going to do when you go to put these together is go ahead and take some glue. We're going to put some along the top here. You don't want to do it too much, just do a little bit here. We're going to go ahead and put our first piece on just like this. Make sure it's on there real good. I'd wipe off any excess, but I lost my rag. I'll do that in a minute. Oh, here's my rag. I found it, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, now then, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing to the opposite side. You want to make sure that the open part, or the groove, is facing upwards. Whoop, I dropped it. You can do that if you want to. It just adds character to it. Alright, now that we got that put on, we're going to do the same thing but to the bottom. You want to make sure the groove is facing towards the other groove when we do this. Put a little glue here, along the top a little bit, on the side. Do the same thing to the other side. Oop, that's not the right side. Alright, just kind of slap this together in here. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys. A lot of people want them to be perfectly square and everything, but to be honest with you, we're putting this in a beehive. And the bees are either going to build on it or they're not. That's the two options. As long as they build on it, I don't care if it's square, if it's crooked as crap. But, I mean, you want it to look alright. So, now that we got that put together, we're going to use 1 1/4" staples in this gun that we got here. Alright, now that we got it all glued together, we're going to go ahead and put the staples in. We're going to start with the bottom. We're just going to put one right on the top, which made a lot of sense. Alright, now that you put the staples on the bottom, we put one on each side. On the top, we're going to put two on the top because we've had issues with them staying together. We're going to do the same thing to the opposite side. Now then, we're going to go ahead and put one more, kind of at an angle here. Just to make sure it holds together. Alright. Now once we let this dry, we're going to go ahead and put some wire through here for our wired wax foundation. I know that's kind of redundant, but we've also had issues with that as well. So we like to make sure this is going to work. Take two. Alright guys, now that we've let these dry for a little while, what we're going to do is go ahead and take these little eyelets that we have and put in these little holes. There's 4 of them. And we're going to put it in the center too on both sides. What we're going to do is take these little eyelets here and get out of here. Alright, now you see these 4 holes here? They're all made for putting your wire through. We normally just use the center 2 because, well, that's just what we prefer really. What we use is these little eyelets that I've got here in my hand, and we go ahead and put them in the wood here in these holes, so that way the wire doesn't just, if you tighten it up a lot, it's going to just kind of cut through the wood because it's so fine a wire, and this is soft wood. You can pick these up at your local bee store, or order them online, or whatever works for you. But we're going to put these on this side and the opposite side, and we're going to run our wire through it. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and run our wire through our eyelets. We have a wire jig set up back here that we're using that helps out quite a bit. So you just want to come through one side, come out the other, and then loop back through. Alright, now that you got your wire run through, the next thing you're going to want to do is use a small nail. We're using a 7/8 wire brad, and you're going to put it right in between where these two eyelets are set up. So we're just going to find somewhere close to the middle and just put it about halfway in. Then what we're going to do is take this the wire that we just ran through last, the very end of it, and wrap it around at least 3 times. Alright, now that you've got your wire on there, you've put your nail in, and you've wrapped this far end around it, what you're going to do is take you a clamp at least the size of your frame, and you're going to line it up here and just put a little bit of pressure on it until you start seeing it bow just a little bit. Now you don't want to do it too much because these can break, but you get a little pressure on there, and then what you're going to do is pull it as tight as you can from the other end. Work all as much of the slack out as you possibly can. And then wrap it around here another 3 times. Now you're done with that, you release the tension, and you're going to go ahead and take your nail and drive it on down the rest of the way. Alright, now to break these wires off, you will just want to work it back and forth. If you actually use something to cut it, you're going to leave a sharp edge that's going to cut your fingers, and you don't want that. Alright, now that we've got it all done, you can kind of hear how loud it is. So
529 hertz.
He's checking it with a decimeter. But it kind of sounds, you know, kind of like a guitar string or something similar. You want it to be pretty tight. Alright, now that you've let this dry for a while, what you're going to do is go ahead and go to the top of it, and you'll notice there's a split in the top. And we're just going to take a little chisel that we have here, and you're going to bust that loose. We're going to need this here in just a minute, so make sure you keep up with it. Alright, the next thing you're going to want to do is, since we're using wired wax foundation, we'll go ahead and peel that paper off of there. Take a big smell, because it smells delicious.
Bee wax, same as crack.
Alright, so what we're going to do here is there's little wires sticking up at the one end of this, and you want to make sure those are facing the top part that you just took off. Alright, we're going to work that down, and we're going to go in between those 2 wires, where one's on top, one's on one side, and one's on the other. We're going to go ahead and push that through here, and we're going to work it in to this bottom slot. Just like that. Alright, now that you've got the bottom, you've got it all put in here, what you're going to do is take your piece that you broke off and put it right here. All those little wires that were sticking up on that one end are going to help hold this frame, they're going to help hold this wax in. And we're using our pneumatic staple gun, and we're just going to put 3 of staples right here. 1, 2, whoop, try again. 2, and 3. Alright. Alright, now that you've got your wax in here, what we're going to do is go ahead and embed this wire that we put on either side here. Alright, now what we're using for this is a wire embedding board. We've labeled it so that way we know that's what it is. And it fits just right inside of these frames. So we're going to take this and put it underneath, just so that way it fits on there. And we're going to use this wire embedding tool. It kind of looks like a spur off a cowboy boot. And we're going to put about 8 to 10 pounds of pressure and just run right across this wire, and it's going to embed it right into the wax. It's going to strengthen it quite a bit, so that way they'll have a straight foundation to be working against. Because otherwise they can bow back and forth, and it'll mess up your pattern real bad, and your frames, they won't come out as easy. Alright, now as you can see, it's quite a bit tougher. It doesn't move back and forth all that much, and it's just great for your bees. You just go ahead and throw it in your box and you're good to go. Hope you enjoyed this week's project. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any good ideas for other projects that you'd like to see, leave me a comment and I'll get to it. Consider supporting us on Patreon so we can do bigger and better projects.